Let me ask you something. When do you plan to retire? Most people, when they hear that question, their brain jumps straight to a number. 66, maybe 67 if they have heard it's going up. Some people say 60 if they are optimistic. But here is what almost nobody asks. And this is the question that actually matters. Why is that the number? Why 66? Why not 55? Why not 50? Why not 45? The honest answer is because that's what the government decided. And at some point, without really thinking about it, most of us accepted that as our answer too. But here is the thing, and I genuinely think this changes the way you see money if you let it. Retirement is not an age, it's a number. A financial number, and that number is entirely within your power to build. Let's strip retirement back to its actual definition. Not the legal one, not the government's one, but the real one. Retirement is when you no longer have to work to cover your living cost. That's it. That's the whole definition. It doesn't say anything about your age, it doesn't say anything about the government, it doesn't say anything about waiting for a letter in the post. It means your money, the assets you have built, the investments you have made, generates enough income to cover your life. At that point, work becomes optional. You can still do it, many people do, but you don't have to. Now, if that's the real definition, then the real question isn't what age can I retire? The question is, how do I build a pot big enough to make work optional? And the moment you start asking that question, a lot of things shift. Here's where I want to be really clear. Because I'm not saying the state pension doesn't matter, it does. The full state pension in 2025 is £230 a week, just over £11,900 a year. Now, if you are outside London and you want a moderate retirement, holidays, the odd meals out, a bit of comfort, the retirement living standard suggests you need about £31,700 a year. The state pension covers roughly 38% of that. So the state pension is a foundation. It's a floor, but it's not a life. And here's what makes this more urgent. The pension age is already moving. If you were born after 1960, you can't claim it until you are 67, and that's expected to rise to 68 for anyone born after 1977. That's a huge chunk of millennials and older Gen Z. Think about that for a second. If your healthy life expectancy, the years you can actually live well, peaks in your early 60s, and you are being told to wait until 67 to access your pension, you have already lost those years. This isn't doom and gloom, it's just maths, and maths points in one direction. You need your own pot. In the FIRE community, the Finance Independence Retire Early, there is a concept called your FIRE number. It sounds complicated, but the principle is remarkably simple. Work out what you need to live on each year, multiply it by 25, that's your number. This comes from something called the 4% rule. The idea that you can withdraw 4% of your investment portfolio per year invested sensibly, it could last 30 years plus without running out. So let's say you want 30,000 a year in retirement. 30,000 times 25 is £750,000. That's your number. That's the finish line. Not an age, a number. Now, £750,000 sounds like a lot. And if you are starting from zero, it is. But here's where the math gets genuinely exciting. If you invest £500 a month from the age of 25 into a simple global index fund averaging 7% annual growth, historically conservative estimate, you will reach approximately 1.2 million by your mid-50s. Start at age 35 instead, you would hit around 600,000 by the same age. Still life-changing, just slower. The point isn't that you need to be extreme about it. The point is that time is doing most of the work. You just need to start. So, what does building your own retirement pot actually looks like in the UK? Let's keep this practical. Tool 1. Stocks and Shares ISA. You can invest up to £20,000 per tax year into an ISA. And all growth, all dividends, all withdrawals are completely tax-free. This is genuinely one of the best investment wrappers in the world. Platforms like Vanguard, InvestEngine or Hargreaves Lansdown make opening one straightforward. You can start with as little as £25 a month. Tool number 2. Your workplace pension. If your employer offers matching contributions, and many do under auto-enrollment, that's free money. Your employer is legally required to contribute at least 3% of your qualifying earnings. Make sure you're contributing enough to get the full match. Tool number 3. Index funds. You are not sure what to invest in inside your ISA or pension? Index funds are the evidence-backed default. They track the entire market, spread your risk automatically, and carry very low fees, usually around 0.1% to 0.2%. You don't need to pick stocks, you don't need to time the market, you invest regularly. Let the compound growth do its thing and review it once a year. I want to come back to something I said at the start because I think it's the most important idea in this video. The government's pension age is not your retirement date. It's a safety net, a default, a backstop for people who don't have the knowledge or income to build their own pot. By watching this video, you now have the knowledge. Retirement is just a word for enough. Enough money to pay your bills, enough to not need a salary, enough to make Monday mornings optional. That enough might come at 45 for some people, it might come at 55 for others, and for some 66 will genuinely be the right time, and that's fine too. But the difference between arriving at 65 by default versus by choice, that difference is everything. The people who retire early, and I'm not talking about people who won the lottery or inherited a fortune, they just start asking a different question. Not when can I retire, but how much do I need? And how do I get there? Everything else flows from that. So here's what I would do to encourage you to do this week. And it takes about 10 minutes. Work out what you would need to leave on each year if you didn't have to work. Not your current salary, your actual costs. Rent or mortgage, foods, bills, the things you enjoy. Multiply that number by 25. Write it down. That's your freedom number. Open a stocks and shares ISA. Even if you put in just £25 a month, you are not investing for this month. You're investing for the version of you that gets you to decide what Monday looks like. If you found this video useful, there is a video right here on how to invest in ISAs. And if you have got questions, drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.